Hello, and welcome to another episode of the 80s version of the Twilight Zone. And again, I apologize, these are not in order, broadcast order. These are just the order on my DVD. So, today we're delving into the future, the far future of 1999. So last week, there was a mention of, well, in the late 80s, early 90s, people couldn't imagine miniaturization like this or whatever. But this one is great. I really like that they're very specific. This is 1999, this is the future. You can tell it's dingy, it's worn out, but still slightly sci-fi with like face phones and things. And they extract memories. Now, I would have used another term. They say we go in electronically, and that's not correct. I would have used a sci-fi term. I would have used, we use an electric memory excisor or something like that. But they went with electronically, which I don't like. Then he's shown to live this life in a sort of very quiet misery. And they do it in a very good way. They do it with the bug falling in the soup. And it's just heartbreaking to see him sort of reacting like, oh no, it's bad. I live such a hard life. And it's shown very, very well here. You need to have these sort of hooks where you can pull the audience in. They unplug him with this little thing that he has on his head, and it doesn't go. I would have liked it to go, but instead you hear this sort of Velcro-y noise. But I think it would have been cooler if it just went instead. Now memories aren't like this. We store stuff not in a specific spot, and it propagates throughout our entire neural net. So you can't go in and pull a specific memory out. Like, it's not about technology at this point. It is just about how the brain stores things. So we are our experiences. You can't pull memories like this and not have it affect everything else. Your personality and the way you feel about things and the things that you know. It's not like I will now remove the memories of your school and therefore you don't know anything that happened during that school. Sure, but that would also mean that you no longer dislike chocolate ice cream and that you don't have a problem with wearing red shoes. And you wouldn't know why, because everything is interconnected. There's no like, these are episodic memories, these are procedural memories. It doesn't work like that. That's why anemia is such a fascinating thing to amnesia. Sorry, anemia is when you lack blood. Amnesia is such a fantastic field of study because it shows just what is going on in the brain when something is going wrong in the brain. His neuroplasticity, which is a term, neuroplasticity is how well your brain can sort of take in new information, is fantastic because you just shove a life or several lives in there and he just sort of acclimates to it. And it's like, it's fine. It's okay. It's cool. And yeah. Why wouldn't they have copies of everything? Like, I don't understand the storage mediums, obviously, here. It's a great episode, very Twilighty. I like it. It's not very horror-y, but the next one is. So it's Something in the Walls, which is very horror-y. It's based on the yellow wallpaper, which was from 1891 by Charles Perkins Gilman. And this is one of the adaptations. It's been done a few different ways. I really like this one, though. Becky is Kelly Cadeau. She played Lady Chaos in, like, don't think it was the animated X-Men. I think it could have just been Silver Surfer. But, like, she did voice work for X-Men and stuff, too. So they talk about this seeing faces in patterns. And that's just called Paradolia. That's just a feature of our brain. We are pattern recognition machines, and we are specifically good at finding faces. We are fantastically good at this because it is a very, very useful skill to have. You need to be able to identify who is talking, if they're talking to you, if they're looking at you. All these things are really, really important when you're social animals. And that's why we have this very powerful skill. The actual face in the wall that the patient gets to see is a rubber piece of wallpaper that someone is pushing up against like that. And it's a physical, practical effect. It's very well done. I like it, but it gets better with time. So The Frighteners, if you haven't seen it, you should go see it. It has Michael J. Fox in it. It does this really quite well. They have, I think it's The Haunting or House on Haunted Hill. No, it's The Haunting that has this as well. And it does so very well. The early CGI and The Frighteners are not quite as good, but the whole sort of face into the wall thing, it works when you do it well. So this works really quite well. The flaky wallpaper thing, the Tell No One stuff, that does not work because of the solid yellow and it's sort of just breaking apart. They couldn't, I don't think they could have done much better with the technology that they had available. There are better versions of this. I'm thinking Doctor Who, I can't remember which season it is, that has a similar sort of breaking of a wall effect. Just would have worked out better. And the painted ceiling in the end, they did too much. They painted a face on there. And I mean, of course, they needed to match it up against her face coming out through it. And they needed the eye to sort of drip water and all that stuff. But they did too much. I think they could have gone far more extract. And a slightly bigger pattern, slightly more sort of lines, and then had a face appear there and here and here. So that it would have been more ambiguous that way. I think it would have been better. But that's just me. But that is the end of this week's episode, and I look forward to seeing you next week for some cat and mouse. Take care now.